You're in a meeting. Your boss asks for ideas. You offer one, but a colleague cuts in with a sharp little smile and says, "We've already discussed that. Can you try something new?" The room chuckles. You feel your face get hot. You try to smile back, but no one is listening to you anymore. In that single moment, you've been erased. You thought you won by staying calm, but you lost. You lost everything. This is how it starts. The woman you have a crush on in your team suddenly loses interest in you because she saw you couldn't even protect your own ideas. Your boss overlooks you for a promotion because he knows when you speak, people don't listen. You've been socially downgraded and you feel completely and utterly powerless. But what if I told you there's a secret weapon? One that doesn't involve insulting them back or trying to explain yourself. It's a psychological art called framing. Framing isn't about winning an argument. It's about taking their own words and using them like a mirror to expose their deepest, ugliest insecurities for the whole room to see. You don't just win, you make them the joke. You make them regret ever opening their mouth. Today, I'm giving you 10 devastating, ready-to-use lines that will shift the power dynamic instantly. You're about to join the winning team. Are you ready to turn their words into the weapon that destroys them? Let's start with the first takedown. So picture this. The bully leans in and says, "You talk like you're some expert. Have you ever actually succeeded at anything?" The amateur's mistake is to start defending their accomplishments. The master understands the hidden frame at play. If you're not successful, you have no right to speak. Their attack operates on this hidden assumption, weaponizing the very idea of success because it's a standard they've created to disqualify others, a standard they've likely never met themselves. You expose this by calmly looking them in the eye and asking, "What's your definition of success?" For me, it's when people actually listen. What's yours? The takedown, make them define the success they've never had. Next, let's dissect a common passive-aggressive jab. They watch you putting in the work, and instead of competing, they try to devalue you by saying, "Wow, you've been working so hard lately," trying to score points with the boss. Their intent is to frame your effort as pathetic brown-nosing. But the psychological truth is that they mock your effort because they're terrified of being outshone. The phrase, "scoring points," is a confession. They know the game so well because they've played it themselves. Your recursive reply turns their accusation into an admission of their own expertise. You simply reply, "Sounds like you've done quite a lot of impressing yourself to spot it that quickly." The takedown, turn their accusation into a confession of their own expertise. Here's another one, aimed at your confidence. The bully says, "Wow, you're really showing off today. Must not want anyone stealing your spotlight." Their intent is to frame your confidence as attention-seeking desperation, hoping you'll shrink. But this is a projection of their deepest insecurity, a primal fear of losing the spotlight, of being ignored. They see you thriving where they feel most vulnerable. You don't deny it. You agree with them so powerfully, it shatters their frame. You say, "Perfect. That way we don't have to share the spotlight." The takedown, agree with them so powerfully, it exposes their fear of competition. Now for a classic trap. To turn the room against you, they ask a loaded question. "So you think you're smarter than everyone in this room, huh?" They want to frame you as arrogant, but they've made a fatal error by succumbing to a Freudian slip. The phrase, "I'm smarter," originates not in your mind, but in theirs. It's a direct broadcast of a deep-seated inferiority complex they desperately try to conceal. You simply hand it back to them. If the words "I'm smarter" are coming from you, you must secretly feel that way, don't you? The takedown: reveal that the only person making comparisons is them. What if they try to shut you down by making you seem irrelevant? They say, "You've already suggested this before. Don't you have anything new?" Their goal is simple: to make the room stop listening by framing you as unoriginal. This comeback is a masterpiece of reframing. It treats their interruption not as a valid critique, but as a sign of their own poor comprehension. You reply, "Great, I'll summarize it again quickly, just to make sure we're really talking about the same thing." The takedown: treat their insult like a request for clarification from someone who couldn't keep up. Sometimes the attack is direct and brutal, meant to lower your status in a single blow. They say, "You loser, you'll never succeed." But the real motive isn't a belief in your failure. It's a profound fear of your success. They are terrified you will succeed and leave them behind, so their insult is a desperate attempt to chain you to their level. You expose this fear by asking, "If you're saying that out loud, you really must be afraid that I might actually succeed more than you, right?" The takedown: expose their insult as a desperate prophecy of their own defeat. Here's the oldest attack in the book against confident people. They look at you and say, "You're so full of yourself." They try to frame your self-assurance as a negative trait to make you feel guilty and shrink. But psychologically, people who are comfortable in their own skin don't attack confidence in others. This insult is always an observation from someone who lacks it profoundly themselves. You reveal this with a simple question. If you've started to feel like other people are more confident than you, that really says a lot about you, doesn't it? The takedown: reveal that their insult is just an observation from the bottom looking up. This next one masquerades as wisdom. The bully says, "You're confident, sure, but people like that, once they fail, they can't recover." This is a textbook case of psychological projection. This isn't an observation about you. This is them externalizing a painful memory of their own failure. They were confident once, took a risk, then crashed so bad they never recovered. They're framing their past trauma as a piece of wisdom about your future. You reframe it as the flashback it is. If you see confidence as a risk, that probably means you've been confident before and crashed pretty badly, right? The takedown: reframe their warning as a traumatic flashback of their own failure. Let's look at a vague, passive-aggressive jab. They say, "Some people, every time they speak, they always make others feel small." They use "some people" and "others" to frame you as condescending without any proof, hoping you won't call them on it. The comeback forces them to take ownership of the feeling, revealing that others is really just them. You ask them simply, "So that's how you really feel when I speak, right?" The takedown: make them publicly admit that everyone is actually just them. Finally, the status attack. They use procedure as a weapon. They say, "You're still suggesting this. It's like you don't even know the rules at this table." But the source text is clear. Secure leaders never need to remind others of the rules. This appeal isn't a sign of strength. It's the last refuge of someone who feels their status is so fragile that only an external system can protect it. You are a threat not to the rules, but to their precarious position. You expose this by stating, if someone didn't feel they might lose it to the right person one day, they wouldn't bother bringing up the rules to that person. The takedown: expose their rule book as a shield for their insecurity. The lines you've learned today are more than just words. They are scalpels for social surgery. Framing isn't about winning an argument. It's about rewriting the social reality of the room in real time. The next time a bully tries to define you, you won't just deflect the attack. You will become the architect of their social collapse, using the very bricks they tried to throw at you. This was just a sample from my book, How to Make a Bully Look Stupid in One Sentence. If you want to flip a bully's words and make the whole room laugh at them in 3 seconds without explaining or insulting until it becomes instinct, this book gives you 50+ real-life mock-to-comeback examples, each broken down to show why they work. The replies you must never use. They make you weaker. How to judge when to respond and when silence is stronger. A method to improvise new lines on the spot. Ready to use comeback lines for any situation. A quick test to prove you're ready. Grab a free sample or the full book at the link in the description below.